This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
It is 5 o'clock here on your Tuesday. Good morning to you. I'm Lauren Casey.
And I'm Meredith Barrick. Here's what's making headlines on this February the 25th. Now at 5 o'clock, efforts to protect renters in Indianapolis could be thrown out. How a new Senate bill could overrule the changes for tenants' rights.
Jet fuel from a fiery tanker crash last week is already having an impact on the environment. How it's affecting local waterways and the city's plan to clean this up.
And a new resource hopes to help college students in central Indiana prepare for the workforce. A look at the plans for the Higher Education Center coming to Plainfield. But first, we need to check in on our Storm Team 6 forecast.
That's right, and we have some visibility issues out there, Todd, as folks are heading to work this morning.
Yeah, overall we still have this damp and just dreary feel out there that is going to continue not only this morning but throughout the entire day. We're probably not going to see a whole lot in the way of heavy rainfall today or widespread rain, but overall it's just going to be that damp feel from start to finish. Visibility is reduced a little bit here across central Indiana. I always say if you're over a mile, which everybody is this morning, you're in decent shape, but just know that these visibilities could change just a little bit as you cross the miles off on your morning commute here this morning. As far as Storm Team 6 radar, there's just some light spotty showers here and there across parts of the area, nothing all that heavy. And this is the way radar is going to look, I think, throughout much of the day today, as there's not going to be any steady rain. It will kind of come and go. There's a little bit of drizzle happening here and around the metro area, not as much to the north, but there is a storm system off to our west. We need to wait for these two areas of low pressure to phase, and that will happen tomorrow. And as the colder air comes in, give us the potential for some accumulating snow. But anything today is just going to be plain rain with temperatures in the 30s and 40s. And then essentially we kind of hold steady throughout the day today. Temperatures won't do much at all, but probably want to have the umbrella or at least a rain jacket with the hood handy as you walk out the door. More on the snow heading our way in just a few minutes, but let's get you updated first on the roadways with Lauren.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Here's a look right now at your drive times heading in on I-70 eastbound from Ronald Reagan Parkway to I-65 at the South Split. It's a quick 12-minute drive, no delays there to slow you down. So let's take a look on the west side, I-465 and Crawfordsville Road. You can see some of the reduced visibility out there in the roads and the wet roads you're dealing with this morning, so just use caution for your morning commute. Everything here, though, is traveling up to speed. Covering the State House this morning, an ordinance created by the mayor and approved last night by the City County Council designed to protect Indianapolis renters could soon be overruled by state lawmakers.
While the city ordinance has been in the works for weeks, an amendment made just yesterday to a state Senate bill would avoid major parts of the city's efforts. This morning, our Kelsey Anderson joins us live with a closer look at this issue. Kelsey, good morning.
Hey, good morning. So that amended bill, if passed, would make it illegal for cities to force landlords to disclose tenant rights, which was a big part of the mayor's push. In the proposal approved by the City County Council last night, landlords would be required to give tenants a notice of their rights and responsibilities, establish a fund to help tenants with legal aid, prohibit landlords from retaliating against tenants who file complaints, and prohibit discrimination against applicants based on their criminal records.
From the council would require landlords to give tenants a notice of their rights and responsibilities, establish a fund to help tenants with their legal aid, prohibit landlords from
Here's a closer look at the amendment made to the Senate's bill. It would prevent all local governments from regulating how landlords screen tenants, security deposits, and other fees, lease application processes, and rights and responsibilities of tenants. And the bill is scheduled for a second reading this week. It will then go on to a full vote. You can learn more about the tenant rights ordinances passed last night, as well as the amendment in the State House over on the RTV6 News app. Reporting live, Kelsey Anderson, RTV6.
Kelsey, thank you. The interstate crash and explosion involving a tanker carrying 4,000 gallons of jet fuel could have long-term effects on the environment and wildlife. A local wildlife organization sent us these photos. They tell us they took in 3 ducks this weekend that were covered in fuel. The ducks were found near the Pleasant Run Creek in Irvington. You can still see the fuel in the water there. The Indiana Department of Environmental Management says the fuel got into the creek through the interstate stormwater system. They tell us there are no drinking water intakes along Pleasant Run Creek, and they are working with the Marion County Health Department to oversee cleanup. Some people who live in the area tell us they're worried about the long-term effects.
Frightening to hear because I walk the park almost every day, and I'm enjoying all this wildlife, and I'm afraid it's going to come to an end.
According to the Indiana Department of Environmental Management, the trucking company will be responsible for all costs associated with the cleanup.
A northern Indiana man accused of dropping his granddaughter out of an open cruise ship window will head to trial this spring. Salvatore Nello appeared in court in San Juan, Puerto Rico, and waived his right to trial by jury. That means a judge will weigh the case. And Nello faces a negligent homicide charge for the death of his 18-month-old granddaughter, Chloe Wiegand, on a Royal Caribbean cruise last July. Prosecutors say he negligently exposed the girl through an open window. And Nello said he thought the window was closed. The trial by judge is set to start April 2nd. The family is suing Royal Caribbean for Chloe's death.
A man is back on trial for a second time in Indianapolis for murder. 38-year-old Carl Woodall is now on trial for the killing of James Sapp in March of 2017. The jury was selected and testimony began yesterday. Investigators say Woodall and Sapp were involved in a dispute over money and drugs. Woodall is already facing time in the death of 37-year-old Stephanie Colson. He was convicted last year and sentenced to 63 years in prison.
A Marion High School guidance counselor is in custody after allegedly having an inappropriate relationship with a young girl. 46-year-old Ryan Vermillion was arrested by the Wells County Sheriff's Office on Sunday. He's facing multiple counts of vicarious sexual gratification and child exploitation. The Sheriff's Office says that an investigation found an inappropriate online relationship between him and the girl. According to the high school, Vermillion is now suspended pending termination.
A proposal that would have required teachers to undergo handgun training if they want to carry guns in Indiana schools will not become law in 2020. We first told you about the State House bill to pay for handgun training for teachers last month. It's already legal for teachers to carry in schools if the district allows it. The chair of the House Education Committee killed the training bill yesterday, and it won't be brought back. A similar training bill also failed last year.
RTV6 is getting answers after residents here in Lawrence complained about another rise in their water bills. The latest increase began in the new year, and officials say the change should not be a surprise. The city's utilities superintendent, Scott Salisbury, says that he heard the complaints, but says the proper notification was sent with the bills. He says the increased rates were phased in 3 times over the last 4 years. The money has since allowed them to make infrastructure improvements, including a new multi-million-dollar water treatment facility.
You can't keep putting Band-Aids on things. Eventually you got to replace it, and it's a hard bullet to bite, but you have to do it.
With how the current plan is running, Salisbury says he doesn't anticipate there will be any other major increases for some time.
A facility for adults and teens to earn degrees in job training is coming to Plainfield. The town council approved a higher education center that will be called Made at Plainfield. Construction is set to start next month on the nearly 100,000 square foot facility just north of Plainfield High School. The center will include labs, classrooms, and meeting rooms. It's a partnership between the town's school district, Vincennes, Ivy Tech, and a number of other organizations.
Tonight you have a chance to stump Jeopardy's greatest champion of all time. Ken Jennings will be at DePaul University in Greencastle to speak as part of the school's lecture series. It will also feature a Q&A session where audience members can try and stump Jennings with their own trivia questions. Last month you saw Jennings win Jeopardy's the greatest of all time series right here on RTV6. The event begins at 7:30. It is free and open to the public, but you better get there early because there are no tickets and seating is first come, first serve.
The NFL Combine is getting underway this week in Indianapolis, and this year there are some big changes. The top college talent will run 16 new position-specific drills and will eliminate 10 old ones. The league says it's also moving most of the on-field drills to prime time to get more of an audience. Drills start with the quarterbacks, wide receivers, and tight ends from 4 to 11 on Thursday. Running backs, offensive line, and special teams go Friday, followed by defensive players on Saturday. All right, Todd, and I want to put a block up against the weather that we are about to have here over the next 48 hours or so.
You know, we're going from relatively mild temperatures today in the mid-40s with rain and drizzle to tomorrow. Winter storm watches for parts of the area and anticipating some accumulating snow. We'll talk more about the snow aspect of things as we get into Maine weather in just a few minutes. This morning, I want to get you out the door first. We're talking about temperatures again in the 40s. There's some showers, there's some drizzle, there's some patchy fog. Just overall, that damp feeling that we had throughout much of the day yesterday is really just going to continue continue into the day today. The difference is this morning for your commute compared to yesterday when we had that steady rain to the south, it's more just scattered showers here and there, and they're all very, very light. So that's good news, at least. Seymour to Columbus to Martinsville over towards Terre Haute, we're dealing with some showers. But the major part of the storm system is off to our west. And initially, as it comes in later on this afternoon and this evening, it'll be mainly more of a light rain that starts to develop. And you can see the rain chances do kind of go up throughout the day, so have your umbrella handy. But at least during the daytime hours today, it is going to be all rain. Once we get past sunset tonight, that's when these high temperatures that you see in the 30s and 40s will start to fall. And that's when we introduce the chance of some accumulating snow that's going to develop across parts of the area. More on that coming up in Maine Weather again in just a few minutes.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. It was an emotional day for thousands as they remembered NBA star Kobe Bryant and his daughter Gianna. Coming up, the touching tributes from friends and his wife.
And Democratic presidential candidates are set to square off again tonight. Still ahead, the latest on the front runners headed into the South Carolina debate.
Days from 4:30 to 7.
God knew they couldn't be on this earth without each other. He had to bring them home to heaven together.
People were brought to tears as Vanessa Bryant spoke about her husband, NBA legend Kobe Bryant, and their daughter Gianna. Performances and other tributes were also made to honor Bryant almost 1 month after he was killed in a helicopter crash.
More than 20,000 friends and fans gathered here at the Staples Center for this celebration of life. Many of Bryant's former Los Angeles Lakers teammates were there. Beyonce performed her song XO, saying it was one of his favorite songs. A memorial video also played on the arena's Jumbotron, but it was for Bryant's wife of 18 years, Vanessa, that the sold-out stadium had a standing ovation for.
May you both rest in peace and have fun in heaven until we meet again one day. We love you both and miss you forever and always. Mommy.
Vanessa is suing the helicopter company for the deaths of her husband and daughter. The wrongful death suit was filed against Island Express just as the memorial celebration got underway yesterday. It claims that the company is liable for the actions taken by the pilot, saying he didn't properly monitor the weather or abort the flight. The pilot was among the 9 people who were killed in that crash.
At 5:15, a former University of Texas tennis coach will spend time behind bars for his role in the college admissions scandal. Michael Center was sentenced to 6 months in prison for accepting the $100,000 in bribes. He used to teach at the University of Texas at Austin. Court documents say he plotted to get a student admitted in 2015, even though the student did not play competitively. Center pleaded guilty to conspiracy last April. He also admitted to conspiring with Rick Singer, the same man involved in the scams to get actresses Lori Loughlin and Felicity Huffman's kids into school.
After a heated debate in Las Vegas, 7 Democratic presidential candidates are set to take the stage again tonight in Charleston. This will be the 9th debate of the 2020 election. Former New York City Mayor Mike Bloomberg will participate for a second time. All are trying to gain support ahead of South Carolina's primary on Saturday. Senator Bernie Sanders currently holds a delegate lead with former South Bend Mayor Pete Buttigieg in second.
A sweeping new change to U.S. immigration policy is now in effect. The Trump administration is now implementing the public charge rule. It means people applying for a green card or visa will now be judged on their income and education levels. The rule also looks at if they already use public assistance like food stamps. Critics call it a wealth test and are afraid the changes will stop immigrants from participating in government programs. The White House says it will, quote, protect hardworking American taxpayers.
Another American has tested positive for the novel coronavirus. The person was one of the passengers evacuated from the Diamond Princess cruise ship. They were originally being monitored in Texas and have since been flown to the National Quarantine Unit in Nebraska. 14 people are now being treated there, with a total of 12 of them testing positive for COVID-19. Here at 5:17, let's take a look at our weather with Todd.
And there's a lot going on in the forecast over the next 24 to about 36 hours. Once we get past that, we're in pretty good shape. This morning, we're dealing with some visibility issues. There's a little bit of patchy fog out there. Nothing super dense. And we also have a few rain showers. And you notice these rain showers from Seymour to Greensburg and then around the metro area back off to the west. They're all very, very light. And and they're scattered in nature. So we don't have that steady rainfall making its way through the area like we did yesterday. And as we expand out, look at how far the precipitation stretches all the way from the East Coast through the Midwest back into the northern plains. And what we have going on is several areas of low pressure. And what makes the incoming snowfall for tomorrow pretty difficult is we have to wait for 2 areas of low pressure to phase. Where that happens, as far as location and timing, will play a big role in when we change over from rain to eventually snow. Now, through the daytime hours today, we're just talking about plain old rain. You don't have to worry about any snow for your morning commute or your evening commute. Although as we do get into the afternoon hours, the showers will become a little more steady, a little more prevalent, especially across northern locations. But everybody all day long probably deals with drizzle, some showers off and on, so have the rain gear handy. It's not until late tonight that we start to bring in some colder air. So your Wednesday headlines is going to feature several things. Falling temperatures from the 40s into the 30s, wind gusts up to 25 miles per hour, and changing road conditions as we'll change from rain over to snow as those temperatures start to drop off. So throughout the day tomorrow, you can see right down to 32 degrees already by 8 a.m. and then we'll slowly fall back down into the low 30s with these snow showers starting to make their way through. So let's try to break down the timing and how much snow you could see in your neighborhood, because there's going to be a big difference from north to south. The snow comes in overnight, and so for some of you tomorrow morning, the snow is already falling, especially in northern locations. The metro area kind of going to be on the border of the morning commute to mid-morning for that snow to start to move in. And then we get a pretty good push of snow throughout the afternoon and into the evening hours. Winter storm watches have been posted for essentially the northern half of central Indiana. At this point, it does not include Indianapolis, and this will likely be broken down into winter weather advisories like they have in Illinois as we work our way at least through the day and into the day tomorrow. Now, this is for Indianapolis snowfall totals, and you notice the one model, which is the one I just showed you, only puts down 0.6 of an inch of snow. Other models are putting down anywhere from about 1 to 3 inches of snow in the metro area. I think I'm leaning more towards the 1 to 3 inches of snow right along I-70. To the north, you'll get into probably 3 to 5 inches of snow, but then the totals really drop off as you work your way down to the south. So the further north you are through the duration of this event, the more snow you are going to see throughout the day tomorrow, but everybody needs to use caution. Once we get past the day tomorrow, it's a pretty dry forecast for us with lots of sunshine, but much colder temperatures with highs right around 30 degrees. Lauren?
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Here is a live look right now at traffic. This is up on the northeast side, I-465 and I-69. You can see traffic in this area is traveling up to speed despite the wet roads out there this morning. Just use caution as you're heading out there. Let's take a look at our traffic now. Map some scheduled road work happening here on the ramp system on the northwest side of town, southbound I-465 at I-865. So just use caution in that area. You can always use I-65 just south of here to reroute to get you back near I-865. So we'll continue to monitor that and keep you updated. For now, let's take a look in the downtown area, I-65 and I-70 here at the North Split. This is a view as you're heading around the ramp, heading near Meridian and Pennsylvania Street to that exit. You can see traffic is moving along just fine. No delays or crashes around the metro area.
Accessing several financial products could soon be a one-stop shop. Intuit, the maker of TurboTax, announced it's buying Credit Karma in a $7 billion deal. The agreement will bring the two products together along with QuickBooks and other personal finance tools. By combining the companies, they hope to give consumers a personalized financial assistant to help with things like loans, spending, and credit history.
Less than 2 weeks after Justin Bieber released his album, he's celebrating breaking a record held by Elvis Presley. 25-year-old's album Changes debuted at the top of the Billboard 200 chart. It became his 7th #1 album, making him the youngest solo artist to ever achieve that many. The King made his 7th #1 record in 1961, just before his 27th birthday. Bieber will turn 26 on Sunday.
2 new cheetah cubs are already making history after the break, how their scientific breakthrough could help save their species. That's coming up.
The 2020 Ultima.
It is 5:25 on your Tuesday, and today is Mardi Gras. It's Fat Tuesday. The beads are already out. Celebrations are underway this morning. This is down in New Orleans. A live look at the festivities on Bourbon Street now. It is 5:26 in the morning, so obviously not a lot of festivities. But hey, these people are still out and about moseying around. They've been up all night.
Go
God
home.
love them.
Go to bed. Oh, my goodness. All right.
Well, here is something to fill your cute quota today. Cheetah cubs. The brother and sister were born last week at the Columbus Zoo and Aquarium in Ohio, and they're already making history. They are the first cheetah cubs born through in vitro fertilization. According to the Cheetah Conservation Fund, cheetahs are considered vulnerable, meaning their numbers are dwindling. Biological mom Kabibi has genes that are considered valuable to helping maintain a strong line of cheetahs, but they feared she was too old to give birth, so they planted her eggs into a surrogate who is a few years younger. The names for the two new cubs have not yet been announced. They are really so cute. All right, Todd, sorry that you had to follow them up.
That's right. I'm used to following you ladies all the time.
So that's really we're just as cute, right?
All right, outside right now. We're dealing with a forecast. It's not all that cute. It's still damp. It's still dreary. You have some patchy fog. We have some drizzle and some light scattered showers. But it's mainly all rain throughout the day today. It's not until late tonight in some northern locations that you start to mix in a little bit of snow. But the transition to snow for everybody will take place tomorrow. Winter storm watches are posted. We'll talk more about that and break it down for you coming up in the next half hour. The time now is 5:27. Stay with Good Morning Indiana. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
Today at 10 on RTV6. This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
A city ordinance aimed at protecting renters in Indianapolis could be overruled by a bill making its way through the State House.
Our Kelsey Anderson is working for you this morning, breaking down the battle over landlord-tenant relations. And the Pacers back in action tonight at home, but they could be without one, possibly two key players.
We'll tell you who's out and who's on the fence as the team looks to bounce back from Sunday's blowout loss. But first, we need to check in on our Storm Team 6 forecast. That also probably could be considered a blowout.
Yes, this is our camera downtown view to the west, which you can't see much. This camera is up high on top of the tower there. But Todd, we know that visibility is an issue for a lot of folks this morning.
Yeah, so that's on the top of the Salesforce Tower. So you're locked in with the clouds. It doesn't look that bad at ground level. So you're not walking out to a wall of dense fog, although the visibilities are reduced here across parts of the area. 3 miles in Bloomington, 2 miles in Muncie, 4 in Indianapolis. Anytime you get down, but to right around 1 mile, that's when you start running into some issues. So we're above that right now, but we also have some drizzle out there and some light scattered showers as well. Most of the shower activity right now from Indianapolis to the south, but you notice how spotty it is in between these areas of green, though, that you see on radar, which is some of the heavier showers. There's a little bit of patchy drizzle that the radar just can't pick up, so be aware of that. Temperatures this morning in the 30s and 40s, so you don't have to worry about any ice or any snow here throughout the day today. That will change, though, for the day tomorrow. So throughout the day today, temperatures actually hold pretty steady in the 40s. It's not until tonight that we start to drop back below freezing. At that point, we change from rain to snow. The winter storm watches, as you can see at the top of your screen here, are posted for many counties to the north. We'll talk more about that for you coming up in just a few minutes. But right now, at 5:32, it's going to be updated on the roads.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Here is a live look right now at traffic on the northeast side, I-465 and I-69, where you can see everything's moving along just fine this morning. Let's take a look at your drive times over on the west side. Traveling this morning on eastbound I-74 from Brownsburg State Road 267 to the I-465 ramp system there on the west side. It's a 7-minute drive and everything's moving along up to speed. So let's give you a live look in the downtown area. I-65 and I-70 at the north split. No crashes to report around the metro area at this hour. It is 5:32, covering the State House this morning. An ordinance created by the mayor and approved last night by the City County Council designed to protect Indianapolis renters could soon be overruled by state lawmakers.
While the city ordinance has been in the works for weeks, an amendment made just yesterday to a state Senate bill would void major parts of the city's efforts. This morning, our Kelsey Anderson joins us live with a closer look at this issue. Kelsey?
Hey, good morning. So if that amended bill is passed, it would make it illegal for cities to force landlords to disclose tenant rights, which was a big part of the mayor's push. In the proposal approved by the City County Council last night, landlords would be required to give tenants a notice of their rights and responsibilities, establish a fund to help tenants with legal aid, prohibit landlords from retaliating against tenants who file complaints, and prohibit discrimination against applicants based on their criminal records.
I don't think this is an issue of getting tenants their rights and a notice of their rights. I think this is more so a worry of now we're fining landlords for a potential delinquent or destructive tenant that is not paying the rent or tearing up the property.
Indiana is one of 8 states that doesn't have a retaliation protection for tenants. I know a tenant who's staying in the shelter right now, and she was evicted after having a verbal agreement with her landlord to keep her mother-in-law there. When she called the health department because her son burned himself on the broken covers on the electric baseboard heaters, they evicted her.
So let's take a closer look at the amendments made to the Senate's bill. It would prevent all local governments from regulating how landlords screen tenants, security deposits, and other fees, lease application process, and rights and responsibilities of tenants. The bill is scheduled for a second reading this week, and it will then go on to a full vote. You can learn more about the amended bill and the proposal approved last night by the City County Council over on the RTV6 News app. Reporting live, Kelsey Anderson, RTV6.
Kelsey, thank you. Thousands of Indiana families could be forced to tear down their homes because of flood concerns. This after the Department of Natural Resources sent notices to residents instructing them to not only leave their homes but to also tear them down. Lyra Beta says that the DNR determined that her family cabin is in a floodway and it's so dangerous it must be removed. Beta says this is especially painful because her mother bought this cabin just a couple of years before her unexpected death in December.
And she just really wanted to save this cabin. She also truly wanted all of her children and grandchildren to always enjoy this cabin. She thought it would be in our family for many years. And she always was telling me, you need to go down to the cabin and enjoy the cabin. And so now that we're having it just ripped away from us with losing all of her investment as well, it's heartbreaking.
The DNR tells RTV6 it cannot comment right now due to pending litigation on ongoing legal review by an administrative law judge.
It's so easy to blame the system and so easy to blame DCS for not noticing these signs or not picking up on these signs, but how can the community notice?
Everybody can prevent child abuse. That's what one victim of years of abuse believes and wants to help train communities to better recognize the signs. Matthew Pfeiffer and his 2 sisters were molested and abused by their adoptive parents for 13 years. His sister Emily escaped one day and alerted someone who called police. 2 years and 8 different foster homes later, just 1 month after Emily aged out of the system, she committed suicide. That's why Matthew's now on a nonstop mission to help the community and law enforcement recognize the signs of child abuse. He started a nonprofit called A Voice for Kids. Through that program, he meets with schools, churches, and other groups sharing habits that kids who are abused might form. He also created his own training program for police officers.
In my case, I reached out to law enforcement 4 different times. It was those hang up 911 calls. I vandalized my dad's car, so to speak. It was just opening up the driver door, airing out the back tires, and I put the stuff in the console and strew it all over the ground.
The overwhelming majority of law enforcement officers, they wouldn't even think about that. Well, why are we going back to this house for the 3rd time in 2 weeks? Because somebody's letting air out, their tires, and you just don't think to interview the kids.
Matthew is currently working with the Delaware County Sheriff's Office. The same training will be implemented soon at the Muncie Police Department. The sheriff encourages other agencies to consider contacting the organization as well. A facility that serves the Northeast Side will receive $1.4 million in grants.
That money will help the Edna Martin Christian Center launch phase 2 of its expansion and its second site, the Leadership and Legacy Campus on Ralston Avenue, south of Douglas Park. Officials say that this funding will help that center expand food access, offer early education programs, and help to strengthen community-led development projects and much more.
Certainly at the end of the phase, we'll have the introduction of our Entrepreneurship Center, our Playscape, our full dedication for our senior room, which we're naming in honor of Pastor Alexander, and it's just going to be a great time.
The Edna Martin Christian Center was founded in 1941 as a faith-based agency aimed at bridging cultural, racial, and economic differences. It's 5:38. Your Indiana Pacers will be back in action at Bankers Life Fieldhouse tonight, but the team will be without a key player. Monday, the team announcing that Jeremy Lamb would be out for the season after suffering from a serious knee injury during Indiana's loss to Toronto. Lamb was in his first season for Indiana, averaging 12 points per game. And Victor Oladipo's return to the court is expected to be a game-time decision. He's working through a back injury that kept him out of Sunday's game. Tip-off for tonight's game is set for 7 o'clock. As kids are heading out to the bus stop this morning, Todd Clausen is standing by with what they can expect.
You know, more of the same from yesterday. Probably need the umbrella or a rain jacket. You know, the rain jacket might be a little bit better today because it's more of that patchy drizzle. You could just kind of throw up the hood rather than carrying an umbrella around the entire time. But nonetheless, just know it's a damp and dreary start for our day today with temperatures that are hovering right around 41 degrees. And as parents, as you take to the roadways, there's a little bit of patchy fog that you'll have to contend with as well. But it's not super dense as the kids come home from school. A little more in the way of some scattered showers around, but they should all be pretty light and a temperature right around 44 degrees. And you see some of these showers moving through right now, but you also see what is off to our west, and that is some snow. And we do have accumulating snow in the forecast for the day tomorrow for at least some of you. We'll break it down who sees the most snow and who sees just a few flakes coming up in Maine weather in just a few minutes.
Todd, thank you. Thousands gathered yesterday to say their final farewell to basketball legend Kobe Bryant. Coming up, a look at some of the lighter moments of Kobe's celebration of life.
And the coronavirus outbreak is having more than just a health impact. Straight ahead, how the spread of that virus could impact your wallet as well. We'll be right back.
Your doctor about Chantix.
Welcome back. Disgraced movie producer Harvey Weinstein is in the hospital overnight after a jury convicted him of rape.
He was being transported to Rikers Island when he was suddenly rerouted to the hospital. ABC's Kenneth Moten has the details.
Moments after being convicted of rape and sexual assault, a judge ordered Harvey Weinstein to Rikers Island in New York. But he was diverted, strapped to a stretcher in his suit, and sent to the hospital after complaining of chest pains.
We just heard before coming on that he was experiencing some high blood pressure and some heart palpitations.
This morning, his defense team says it will appeal the verdict after a jury found Weinstein guilty of the third-degree rape of Jessica Mann in 2013 and guilty of sexually assaulting Mimi Halei in 2006.
Weinstein is a vicious, serial sexual predator who used his power to threaten, rape, assault, trick, humiliate, and silence his victims.
The former movie mogul appears stunned by the jury's decision as he was lifted out of his seat.
He looked at me and he just said, "I'm innocent." He's like, "I'm innocent." He's like, you know, how could this happen in America?
The jury acquitted Weinstein on 2 counts of predatory sexual assault, which carried a possible life sentence, as well as a charge of first-degree rape. But he's still facing a possible 25 years in prison when he's sentenced next month. More than 80 women have accused Weinstein of sexual misconduct. Survivors and activists are calling the verdict a moment of reckoning for the Me Too movement. The organization releasing a statement saying the verdict is proof that no one is above the law, not even those with power, money, or visibility. This case reminds us that sexual violence thrives on unchecked power and privilege. Kenneth Moten, ABC News, New York.
Meanwhile, in Chicago, actor Jussie Smollett has pleaded not guilty to charges of making false reports to police. The former Empire star is accused of staging a fake hate crime against himself. Last year, Smollett told Chicago police he was the victim of a racist and homophobic attack. Well, police later said the whole thing was a hoax. They eventually charged Smollett with lying, but those charges were dropped. A special prosecutor was asked to investigate this case. The result, 6 new charges against Smollett. Yesterday, his attorneys filed to have the case dismissed, citing double jeopardy. Smollett is due back in court March 18th.
In Washington, the U.S. Supreme Court says it will not take up an appeal from death row inmate Rodney Reed. He was sentenced to death more than 20 years ago for the assault, rape, and strangling of 19-year-old Stacey Stites. But his attorneys say they have evidence that could exonerate him. They say the state of Texas relied on evidence that was later proven to be scientifically invalid. Reed's death sentence is currently on hold because of separate state proceedings. The case has garnered attention from several lawmakers, religious leaders, and celebrities, including Kim Kardashian West and Rihanna.
More than 20,000 friends, family, and legends of the game gathered at the Staples Center on Monday to celebrate Kobe Bryant's life and the life of his 13-year-old daughter, Gianna.
The ceremony was held on a symbolic date, 2/24, the numbers representing Kobe and Gianna's basketball numbers. The memorial opened with a performance from Beyonce. That was followed by remarks from Jimmy Kimmel before Vanessa Bryant took the stage, delivering an emotional tribute to Kobe and Gigi. And though there were plenty of tears, there were also some lighter moments.
Now he's got me. I'll have to look at another crime meme for the next. I told my wife I wasn't going to do this because I didn't want to see that for the next 3 or 4 years. That is what Kobe Bryant does to me.
The day Kobe gained my respect was the guys were complaining. Said, Shaq, Kobe's not passing the ball. I said, I'll talk to him. I said, Kobe, there's no I in team. And Kobe said, I know, but there's an in me in that.
The event also honored the 7 others who died in the helicopter crash, along with Kobe and Gianna. Here at 5:47, Todd, more rain headed our way.
Yeah, you know, we're never going to get into heavy rainfall throughout the day today, or it's not going to be as steady as it was yesterday, but we're still going to have those damp and dreary conditions, but it's all rain here throughout the day today. As you can see, temperatures are in the 40s through all day parts, so that's at least some good news. Grab the umbrella, grab the rain jacket, whatever your preference is. You'll likely need it at some point throughout the day today. And you see that we're just dealing with some spotty showers here and there across the region currently, and all this is very, very light. And where you don't see the green on radar, there is also going to be also a little bit of some patchy drizzle here and there. But as we expand out, you notice that there's snow off to our west, and this is a very disorganized storm system. So a lot of times we talk about an area of low pressure, and a lot of times which we don't talk about as much because it gets a little technical, is there's upper level lows as well. And this is one of those systems where the upper level low is going to try to match up with the main area of low pressure, and where those two come together is going to make a big difference in the timing of the snow, and eventually also that means into the potential for snowfall totals. Let me walk you through today first quickly, and you notice the scattered showers will be moving through at times during the course of our Tuesday. In fact, as we get into the afternoon hours, it may become a little more steadier, the rain that is, here in northern locations. But once we get past sunset tonight, that's when you start to see the colder air come in, and also we're starting to see the transition from rain to snow. Winter storm watches are posted from basically Hamilton County back through Boone County, Montgomery County, and points to the north. At this time, it does not include Indianapolis. The difference is where the watch is in place, and likely that'll become a winter weather advisory at some point later on today. That's where we're going to see some of the heavier snowfall totals, not nearly as much snow as you work your way from Indianapolis to the south. So for the day tomorrow, we see basically snow showers already throughout the overnight hours, and then eventually they'll continue through the morning commute. We probably get a pretty big push of maybe some heavier snow showers throughout the afternoon hours tomorrow. Now, keep in mind we were in the 40s and the 50s the past few days, so initially we'll see some of this snow start to fall, but a lot of that's going to melt on the roadways. It may accumulate on the grassy areas, but it'll melt on the roads unless the intensity of the snow can overcome those warmer ground temperatures, which it may a little bit in the afternoon hours, but I'm still thinking 3 to 5 inches of snow to the north, about 1 to 3 inches of snow along I-70, with those 3-inch totals probably being north of Indianapolis. And then as you work your way down to the south, less than an inch. But of course, those numbers can differ here as we go into the coming days, because it's a big difference actually in the forecast from yesterday as this whole storm system shifted to the south, and where those areas of low pressure come together will determine eventually those bands of snow. But once we get past tomorrow and some slippery conditions, pretty quiet but cold for the remainder of the week and into the weekend. Lauren.
Todd, thank you. We're keeping a close eye on traffic this morning. Take a look here at this ramp work we've scheduled. This is set to last until Friday. Southbound I-465 ramp system to I-865. Just avoid that spot if you can. You can use I-65 just a little south of here as your detour. No big deal for your morning commute. Everything's still moving along up to speed in that spot. Let's take a look right now at our traffic on the near east side. I-70 here at Rural Street, Keystone Avenue. Lots of headlights moving across your screen. Traffic's picking up on the east side, as you can see, but it's still traveling smoothly.
The outbreak of the new coronavirus, also known as COVID-19, is not only posing a health threat, the economic impact is growing. Cases of the virus are spreading outside of China. Italy hit especially hard. Cases there rocketed up from 3 to more than 200 within the last week. And just this morning, South Korea reporting 84 more cases of the virus, bringing total number of infections to 977. There's also a financial factor. Monday, the Dow dropped more than 1,000 points, and stock markets worldwide also took a plunge. The White House is now requesting $1.25 billion in emergency funds to address the disease. Senators are expected to meet for a classified briefing about the growing crisis this morning.
It's 5:51. If you're looking for breakfast plans, why not head to IHOP? You can get a free short stack of pancakes today in honor of the restaurant's annual National Pancake Day. You could also win some sweet swag. IHOP is giving away bikes bikes, scooters, and jackets. And one lucky grand prize winner will get free pancakes for life. The day also serves as a fundraiser. Diners are encouraged to donate to IHOP's partner charities, Children's Miracle Network Hospitals, Shriners Hospital for Children, and the Leukemia Lymphoma Society. IHOP says it's raised more than $30 million since the annual event started back in 2006.
Beads, booze, and lots of food. Today's a day of overindulgence. It's Fat Tuesday. We'll show you how people are celebrating across the country coming up.
Days from 4:30 to 7.
Cut up your king cake and get out those beads. It is Fat Tuesday, and here's a live look from the famous Cat's Meow balcony overlooking Bourbon Street, New Orleans. Fat Tuesday, or Mardi Gras, is the last day before Lent begins on Ash Wednesday.
Somehow 5 minutes to 6 a.m. and there are now more people out on Bourbon Street.
Maybe, yeah, I'm thinking maybe they got up early to celebrate.
I don't know. It looks like they're still coming out of the bars. Well, Fat Tuesday often associated with overindulging, drinking, and eating lots and lots. And in America, New Orleans is known as the Mardi Gras capital. But celebrations aren't just for the Louisiana city. Mobile, Alabama, where the holiday originally started in America. It is home to the second largest parade and some of the oldest traditions related to the celebration. It's an official state holiday there, and in Dallas, the city celebrates Texas style with a blowout country music festival. Then across the pond in Ireland, England, Australia, New Zealand, and Canada, people celebrate Mardi Gras by eating pancakes and participating in pancake-themed activities. And Todd wanted me to know, I had mentioned earlier this morning that I know St. Louis does a big celebration. He said, that was last weekend. Come on, get your calendar right. So.
Well, good thing there's no parade here, because we would literally be raining on their parade, Todd.
And it is good parade in St. Louis. I wasn't there this year, but I've gone in years past. So, yeah, I do know. All right, outside right now, 30s and 40s. Yeah, you're right, Lauren. Not the best day for a parade or even walking around here in central Indiana. Storm Team 6 radar. Some scattered showers out there this morning. Some fog. The fog's not super dense, but visibilities are reduced. And overall, just that damp and kind of dreary feel. Now, as we go throughout the day, it's very similar to yesterday, with the exception that the rain today isn't going to last as long as it did during periods yesterday. But we'll deal with that patchy fog, a temperature right around 44 degrees with those scattered rain showers off and on. Tomorrow, though, it becomes more of an issue with accumulating snow. Winter storm watches have been posted across parts of the area. We'll break down who sees the most snow and the timing for you coming up when Good Morning Indiana continues. The time now is 5:57.